Do you want to know something that I really hate? You're probably like, no, I don't give a shit. But one of the things that really bothers me is needing to sacrifice audio quality on behalf of video. I like video. Video is the sexy sibling to audio. I get it. Audio isn't as hot to most people. It's sexy as shit to me, though. But when I started caring more about video quality and everything, I ran into an issue. One of the things that made me sacrifice audio quality is going to sound weird, but it was actually lighting. We'll get to that in a second, but let's start at the beginning. When I first started this channel, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get some little LED panel lights. They'll be silent, and it'll be great. So I went with one of these little newer deals, on Amazon, like everyone did. I got a lot of energy tonight. But then the video quality bug took a bite out of me, and that bite itched, and I needed to scratch that damn itch. And the one way I knew I could scratch that itch is getting a bigger light, a bigger, softer light. It was gonna look way more beautiful. I mean, did I buy a ring light and try that in between the LED panel and the big light? Yeah, probably, maybe, I don't know, maybe. And then I realized this wasn't a makeup tutorial and I didn't need the rings in my glasses, If I didn't wear glasses, maybe the ring light would have been fine, but no, it wouldn't have been. So I realized I needed to go big. So that's when I went and got a big softbox and my first COB light. It was this light, the Godox SL60W. And this was also a very popular light, but do you want to know the issue with lights like these? They have fans in them. And the fans can be pretty damn loud. And do you know what frustrates the hell out of me is when the fan noise would get in the damn microphone. I can't have that on an audio review channel. So even though I really liked the look that I could get with the softbox and the SL60W, I knew something needed to change, especially this being an audio channel. But for people that are doing YouTube or podcasts like I do, not having that fan noise can be a big difference. Then at that point, I just went a little bit more high end rather than trying to find a light without a fan. But I will also say that COB lights at that point when I was looking for it, there weren't a lot of options that were silent. So then I moved on to the Aputure 120D Mark II. This is a fantastic light. But as you can see right here, still got a damn fan. And the fan noise was definitely better than the Godox SL60W, but it still bugged me a little bit, especially when I was reviewing certain kinds of microphones that were a little bit more sensitive. So even though this light is fantastic, I always use it for B-roll and everything, it's an amazing light. But I eventually found a light that I absolutely loved. It is the Godox UL150, and it's the light that I've been using for a really long time now. In fact, I actually have two of them. I like them so much. But this light is a COB light. It's completely fanless. It is silent. But one thing that bugs me about it is the size of it. It is massive. I mean, when I actually have to do like an overhead light, it takes a lot of sandbags to even that thing out. But then recently, GVM reached out to me. And it turns out they made a light without a fan. Perfect for me. And not only does it allow for more output than the UL150, but it's also substantially smaller and silent, like I said. This is the GVM SD300D. And today I'm going to tell you a little bit about this light and also why it's my favorite light that I've ever used thus far. Now I'm going to go ahead and plug that light in and just use that light exclusively, show you how it looks, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Now I have the GVM SD300D plugged in as my only light right now. When I've had this set up, I've been controlling it via the GVM2 app, and I'm actually only at 14% on the light. But one thing the silent light, the UL150, doesn't have, that this does have, is that the color temperature can be adjusted on this light from 2700 to 7500. And you can control it just right from this app right here. So right now it's feeling nice and warm in here. Oh, I'm starting to sweat, It's starting to sweat. Oh, it's cold. It's getting cold. What is happening? But right now I have my white balance set at 5600 Kelvin. So I'm going to stick with that. I don't know how helpful this will be and it won't look good, but let's go ahead and just turn the light all the way down and then up. Let's turn it all the way up. Let's do it up. So right now we're at 1 and now we're just climbing up. We're at 15, 20, and we're just going to keep going 30, 40, 50. Oh man, this is bright. 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. In order for me to be exposed in a similar way, I'm actually at F8 right now, rather than being at F2 like I was earlier. The light is really beaming at me, but this isn't really like the setup that I would usually have, so I am going to kick on these backlights. So now I've actually dropped this light down to 11% because I did introduce some more light, but it just goes to show how powerful this light is. And the softbox that I am using is a softbox that was sent from GVM. There are a couple different setup configurations that you can get with this light. To just get a day balanced version of this and not the bicolor, it costs around $350. For the current light that I'm using, the bicolor light, it runs for about $379. So for an extra $30, you can actually have that flexibility of having a bicolor light. Now, if you do want to get the whole setup, whether it's like with the mini softbox or the lantern softbox and a light stand and the bicolor light, that's going to run you around $439. And I mean, all of these prices are as of right now. They could definitely go on sale even more.
Let me jump in here really quick. One thing I did forget to tell you is that the GVM SD300D does come with a very nice travel bag. The light just fits perfectly inside this bag. It's molded around the entire light. Absolutely built, fantastic, great for travel.
But one of the things that GVM does include is this little tiny diffuser that you can put right in front of the light. And I'm curious how much of a difference this can make. So let's go ahead and test that out really quick. Now I have the little mini diffuser in front of the light, and I'm just curious if it made it a little bit softer, a little bit more pleasant looking. And I'll put that version of myself without the diffuser right next to me. We'll just see how different it looks, if it looks different at all, and also if it kills a little bit of the light intensity. Well, now that we've talked about this light a little bit and I've shown you a little bit about it, I'm just going to run through the features in the app really quick. I do want to say a very serious warning if you are sensitive to strobing lights, flashing lights, or anything like that, to skip ahead right now. With the timestamps down below, if you just go to the next section, I'll make sure that it's past all of that. Now you can go through all of these features with the physical buttons on the actual light, just clicking with the mode button and then using the dial. But if you want to be able to control all of the features and everything with your phone, you'll press the mode button until it says app, and then you can go into the GVM2 app and connect up to your light. I didn't have any issue at all connecting up to my light. I literally just opened the app and it was there and I clicked on it. But as we already kind of talked about before, the top one is your intensity slider, just to change how bright your light is. Then the bottom is your color temperature adjustment. And then there's a little power button in the middle of there. If you press that, guess what happens? It turns the light off. There you go. That's what happens. And I will say the responsiveness from the phone app to the light is actually really fast. It's really good. You do have a couple channel options. If you have multiple lights, you can just switch between those. But now we're going to get into some more of those flashing lights and everything. If we go to scene, this is actually where you can, choose some different stuff. Right now we're on paparazzi. And here you can choose how bright you want that paparazzi effect to be. Oh my goodness, that's bright. But up here on the top left, you can see that there's like a lightning option. Then there's an actual strobe one. And on this one, you can actually adjust the color temperature as well. The next one's kind of fun, a little bit more usable. It's a candle effect. And a similar effect to that is actually the TV mode, which is going to be much more of like a blue, higher Kelvin. And then you got your bad bulb that you can also adjust the color temperature on. Explosion, there we go. Then you got fireworks. Once again, you can adjust the color. Now, one of the cool things about this app is if I press the CCT option, which we were in before we went to scenes, it will grab whatever color temperature you were using in your scene and the intensity and just apply it.
And actually, I did a stress test for this light. Maybe this isn't recommended. I don't know. But I actually left this light on for 3 days in a row at 50% power. So every time I would walk into my studio during those 3 days, I would go touch it, feel it, give it a little smooch, and see if it was hot to the touch. But it never was. It was barely slightly warm whenever I did that. So for this being a silent light and not having a fan, the heat dissipation on this is actually really solid.
I wanted to pull out more of a budget camera with this GVM light. This is the Sony ZV-1. I'm currently at f2.2, but I just thought it would be good to show this light in a situation with a little bit more budget-friendly camera. So here's just a real quick example of that. And now I'm actually just recording with my iPhone 12 Pro, just to show that even if you're recording with your phone, it can make a very big improvement on the video quality. For instance, let's just go to my regular room lighting. Even with the lights in the back, this doesn't look nearly as good.
I've been battling some illnesses recently. You might be able to hear it in my voice a little bit. I'm in a vid right now, and I've got the vid. Double vidden. I think I've literally been sick like my last 3 videos, just different sicknesses every time. It's awesome. But the GVM SD300D is currently lighting me with the little mini softbox that they sent me. I obviously have some lights in the back right now. But now I'm going to go ahead and tell you my opinion of this light, which you already know that I do like it. I kind of stated that already. But now I'm going to get a little bit more specific about some of the aspects I do and don't like, and just some things that I wish it had, some things I wish it did differently. Because even though I did talk it up a little bit, it is not perfect. Let's go ahead and start on the positives. The first thing that I definitely love about it is the size of it. This light packs a huge punch. It's very bright, but it's about the same size as the Aputure 120D Mark II. Like I said earlier, it is much smaller than the Godox UL150 that I usually use. It's much easier to balance on light stands and just pack around with you in general. And in fact, I did take it on a little video shoot that I did a little while ago. Maybe I'll just flash some pictures up on the screen right now. It's this awesome coffee cart that my brother-in-law started called Leyline Coffee. Went and took some pictures for him. And there were a couple other just little kicker lights, but the main key light was in fact the GVM SD300D. But in this case, I was actually using the Aputure Lantern. But GVM does make a lantern version if you are going to buy this in a kit. But I really do like the build quality. I like that you can travel with this easily, that it's not too big, and that I'm not scared to travel with it. It's built well enough that I'm not worried. You obviously already know that I'm crazy about the fact that this is silent. This is the main reason I'm literally making this video. For you audio and video people that don't want to sacrifice your audio quality, but also want to have great lighting. On this particular light, I am very happy that it has the color temperature adjustment. But if you are not into that, I do love the fact that you can save a little bit of money and get a daylight balanced one. That's great. It is really nice that this does have a DMX option because I love it when X gives it to me. That sounds dirty. It was in reference to a song. RIP DMX. That was a lot of letters. Now the softbox that came with this is really nice. I will say it was a little bit of a pain in the ass to put together, but I am pretty sure the GVM Lantern gets put together the same way as the Aputure Lantern, and that is honestly one of the easiest, best diffusers to put together. Awesome. Now for the things that I'm not the biggest fan of, my dislikes. I don't like the fact that this doesn't have a way to use battery power. I believe the daylight balanced version of this light does, and that would honestly be a big reason for me to go that direction. I really love the fact that you can adjust the color temperature, but I actually might prefer that it had battery capabilities. So if you're kind of teetering on getting a daylight or a color temperature and the battery issue matters to you a lot, definitely get the daylight balanced. Because the fact that this doesn't have a V-mount or even an NPF is a bit of a bummer to me. For studio applications and podcasting in a studio, it's absolutely perfect. Just plug it into the wall, you're good to go. Also, it is a little bit of a bummer to me that this doesn't come with a remote. I understand that this works very flawlessly with your phone, and honestly, the latency between the phone and the light was minuscule. It was awesome. But also having just a remote that you know is always going to work, you don't have to connect it up, that's nice. If you are thinking about buying the kit, the only thing I will say is that the light stand is fine. It's definitely better than the usual crappy ones you get in a newer LED set, but it's definitely not amazing. I would say it's the weakest part of the whole setup. But overall, I think this is an absolutely great light for the price. I think any audio enthusiast, podcaster, YouTuber would be happy to have this light. I think it could work for a lot of people. And on the audio hotline, I rate using the BB-SAR. It's something that Bark and I from Obscure Mics came up with. It applies to audio ratings, but it also could apply to literally anything. So the grade that I give the GVM SD300D is a 9. I think GVM made a very good light here for a very reasonable price. If this light would have came out a while ago, I probably would have went with it over the Aputure 120D, and I would have saved quite a bit of money. The size of the Godox is a bit of an issue for me when the GVM is even more powerful, more versatile, and just as silent. But thank you all for watching this review of the GVM SD300D. I hope it helped you out, helped you decide if you want to get one of these or not. But most of all, I hope you had fun. I want to say a very big thank you to everyone that subscribes, and the biggest thank you to everyone that's a member of the audio hotline. If you want to take a quick glance at how GD hot all these people are up on the screen right now. Look at all these gorgeous names. I just want to hold each of them like a little baby. Give them a little pat on the back, good job. And then they give me the burps and the toots. Once again, thank you all for watching the audio hotline. I'll see you audio and video nerds next time.